the same with chickens too. So I mean, if you don't eat cows or you don't eat chickens, and then pigs are so cute too. I mean, what are you gonna eat? So, fish.
Yeah, fish are cute.
Some of them are. Did you ever see Finding Nemo?
Well, okay. Story. Okay, yeah.
Here we go. 7 o'clock. Ready? Oh, Rick's. Nice. Way to go.
A few more minutes. Just tell them to call me.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the September 3rd, 2024 City Council meeting. I am calling this meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. Thank you all for coming out and joining us. We're going to get started with our invocation and our pledge allegiance to our flag, which will be led by our City Attorney Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize the responsibility to the past and the future, as well as the rights and needs of both the individual and our community. As trusted servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and our efforts here today. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Our first item on the agenda is the Oldsmar Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation. Comment on any subject that is not on a public hearing. The open forum will conclude at 7:30 p.m. If you wish to speak, please state your name and address for the record. If you'd like a member of the city staff to follow up on a comment or question made at the meeting, you may fill out a comment card with your contact information and give it to the city clerk. Comment cards are available at the back of the table in the council chambers. Completing a comment card is not mandatory. Is there anybody that would like to speak to the council? Anyone?
Got one back.
Amber, you want to come up?
Is this working? Working? Yes? No? Can you hear it? Okay. Good evening, Council. I'm Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. I'm here tonight just to invite the community out to our Glow Party, our very first one. It's going to be Friday, September 6th from 7 to 9:30 at the Community United Methodist Church. So just wanted to invite everyone. So I will pass it out to you guys. And can I leave in the back, the flyers? Okay.
Give them to Kristen. for
Kristen?
us, please.
Okay.
Yes, and she'll give them to us, please.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Jerry, you want to come up?
I keep hitting this thing. Jerry Beeland, Pine Avenue, 512 Pine Avenue South. First of all, I want to tell you all about these guys back here. They are Oldsmar's finest. We're even proud of the chief. These are the guys who make it all right. But you're all right. I will tell you that St. Pete Drive looks bad. Nobody's mowed anything. They're not going to. In fact, I even heard there may be a lawsuit. Mayor, I'm going to ask you a question. I didn't fill out any card, and I'm not gonna fill out any card. And if you can't answer it or don't wanna answer it, I'll request the city manager to answer it, okay?
Sure.
We have a code enforcement department in the city of Oldsmar, don't we? Is he proactive, or does he only act when somebody calls?
I like Greg. I think he's a good employee.
Then I want the city manager to answer me.
You want to answer that, Felicia? Would you like to answer that?
It's just
Yeah.
not a discussion back and forth, so.
It's just an open forum, Jer. You want to meet with us after?
Pardon me?
You want to meet with us after the meeting?
I don't want to meet with this. What's an open forum for? This is the city of Oldsmar. You have an open forum. You people are elected by the citizens. I was mayor. Anybody that wanted to ask a question, I want to tell you, y'all are lucky that you have Mr. Trask as your attorney. As far as I'm concerned, he's the best in the South. The League of Cities even agreed with me.
Thanks, Jerry.
They put him up there with the top. We had a city attorney that I would, as mayor or on council, I would ask him a question, and I'll say it right out, he was an idiot. And he would say, I'll get back to you next meeting. And I would say, why can't you answer at this meeting? That's what this is. This is an open forum. Then I found out he was calling other attorneys to answer my question. Why can't I ask a question to this council? And why can't I get an answer at a citizens' open forum? Mayor?
Jerry, you can get an answer, but this is
I
an
don't,
open forum.
I want an answer now, as I ask it at an open forum. I don't want an answer later. These people need to hear the answer. They may want to know, why is he even asking that? So that means you're not going to answer me. Nobody on this council is going to ask me at an open forum. That better change. I'm telling you right now, that better change. And I will say this, this is even cementing what I said at the last meeting. I will run for the mayor of Oldsmar at the next election. And I'll guarantee you, at my age, I'll probably lose. But God help somebody if I win, because things will change. There's a sign out here on St. Petersburg Drive that's set there, a big sign, set there for almost 2 months. Nobody picks it up. Nobody. Somebody should pick up the sign. I mean, it is huge and it is heavy. So I finally worked it into my car and I picked it up after 2 months. That is sad. Now, if I ask that question, of course, nobody's going to answer me. Why wasn't it picked up? Why didn't the code enforcement guy pick it up? Why didn't some of the city employees pick it up? And I'm not going to ask that question, because if I ask it, nobody's going to answer me. Why do you have an open forum? What good is an open forum if you don't answer a citizen that voted for you to put you behind that diocese? You need to get rid of your code enforcement department, and you need to get rid of your open forum, because it's no good. Because an open forum is to be able to ask a question and to get an answer, not tell me I'll get back to you, or I'll answer you tomorrow or the next day if you come in. Did you just beat me? I'll leave.
Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else would like to speak to the council? Anyone else like to be heard? All right, with that, we're going to close the Oldsmar Open Forum. The next item on our agenda is the community minute, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Mayor, There will be a public information workshop held on Thursday, September 5th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Tico Hall in the library. Meet with city representatives for a discussion workshop regarding possible traffic calming alternatives along St. Petersburg Drive west of Bayview Boulevard and safety improvements on SR 580 west of Lafayette Boulevard. Veterans Memorial Wall applications are being accepted for engravement on the Veterans Memorial Wall. This is an opportunity to honor a current or past resident of Oldsmar who has served on the United States military and honorably discharged, or a son or daughter who died while on active duty in the military whose parents currently live in Oldsmar. The application deadline is Tuesday, September 10th at 5 p.m. For assistance, please call the city clerk's office or visit myoldsmar.com. Storm and hurricane volunteers. Volunteers are being sought for 4 opportunities. Be a social media ambassador, pledge to evacuate and learn to plan, assist with sandbags and or debris removal. For more information, please visit oldsmarstrong.com. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Next item is approval of additional new agenda items. We only have one this evening. It's item 4. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is awards and recognition, and that will be taken care of by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to call Joan Byrne up to the lectern, our arts coordinator, who will talk about the Community Recycled Art Challenge winners.
Thank you. We are here tonight to recognize the winners of the Community Recycled Art Challenge. It was held in July and August at Oldsmar City Hall. The winners were determined by popular vote. So if you didn't vote, I'm sorry, but it's important to vote. Any visitor to the exhibit was able to cast a ballot for their favorite piece in each of the categories. But before we distribute these awards, I wanted to make sure that the city council and the community and those here in the audience tonight know about another honor for Oldsmar. Our very own city manager, Felicia Donnelly, was just named one of 10 finalists nationally for the Women in Government Award. And it's a great honor, and Felicia is way too humble to tell you all about it, but let's give her a round of applause. Now on with the art awards. So we had 43 entries in the 2024 Recycled Art Challenge, and everyone who entered helped to make our environment a winner. Thank you for your participation. Now we'll begin with the first category, which was the children's category, and we have a PowerPoint presentation so you can see what they're actually getting their awards for. So and when we call your name, if you would come up, and let's see if they're bringing the PowerPoint up. Whoops, there it is. All right. So the third place winner in the children's category is Rose Hodges for her mermaid submission. So Rose, are you here? Where are you, Rose? Come on. Maybe Dad will come with her. Okay. Dad, you want to come with her? Okay. You got to get your prize, sweetie.
That's beautiful.
All right. This,
Egg carton.
we're going to get a group shot at the end. We'll have them shake hands with that. Would you like to have the council come down?
Yep,
You can
we'll come
shake
down now.
shake
Everyone
the
come on
winner's
down.
hands. This is,
Sure, come on down, everyone, council.
a great moment. All right, our second place winner is a familiar name, Leona Knapp. Leona's submission was called a unicorn. So, Leona, where are you? Oh, are you coming up? Come on. Oh, we have a reluctant winner here, okay. And the first place winner is Caleb Hodges for his shark submission. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have any teen entries. We'll have to work harder on those teens in our community. But we're going to move on to the adult winners from our community. The third place winner is Vince Verderosa, and he had a Ghostbusters submission. And I believe his mom is here to pick up his award because he has to work evenings. So you want to come up and get Vince's award? Come on up. The second place winner is another familiar name, Sandy Knapp, for her ballerina puppet submission with a familiar face on the ballerina. Where's yours, Counselor? And the first place winner in the adult category is Anthony Janella for his collage of recycled materials that were collected on the Dunedin Causeway. Anthony, there you are, okay. Now, the final category was for Oldsmar employees. They've been competing in this recycled art for quite some time. This is the first time it was opened up to the community, so they've had a lot of practice. Now, the third place winner is kind of a suspicious name. It's Joan Byrne. I wonder who that is. Who made an Amazon City? Why, thank you. From all the Amazon boxes and packing material. Oh, thank you. And you may notice that the mayor of Oldsmar City, of Amazon City, is Mr. Bezos. Yes, okay. Sorry, Mayor. The second place winner is Nancy, in the employee category, is Nancy Verderosa for her beautiful lighted antique book. Very appropriate for a librarian, very appropriate. And finally, the first place winner was Barbara Schulte for her Swim Through the World with Me. Her submission was made with vinyl scraps from the Oldsmar sign shop. Pretty amazing. So I also want to thank my colleague Ben Sigelski, who couldn't be here tonight. He's Oldsmar's sustainability coordinator, for his work on this project. Together, we spent a day at summer camp teaching 75 campers about recycling and helping them to make recycled art. That was quite a busy day. In addition to the ribbons and certificates that everyone received, each of the winners has received coupons for free pies from the new Oldsmar Village Inn. And we want to thank Village Inn for their generous support of this community event and thank everyone who participated or contributed recycled materials. And we want to get a picture of everybody who's a winner. Bring your certificate, bring your ribbons, and let's get in a picture. Oh, and no, she's all right.
Yours is
Oh, my.
over, yeah.
Oh, I gotta hurt the kid's daughter.
Amanda.
You wanna take it, I'll hurt.
Yeah, you're gonna have to maybe.
Okay. Maybe yeah.
Hey Deb. Hey Deb. We need balance on this side. I got everybody in there. Okay, we all ready? I want some big smiles down here, okay? Big smiles. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, thank you.
Thank you, parents. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, getting involved. Thank you so much. Our next item is item 2, public service oath. Alicia.
The city clerk will issue the oath.
Here you go.
The public service oath and penning for Fire Lieutenant Chris Baca.
I state your name.
I, Chris Vaca,
Do solemnly pledge
do solemnly pledge
to uphold the laws and Constitution
to uphold the laws and the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the state of Florida,
the state of Florida,
and the city of Oldsmar.
and the city of Oldsmar.
I pledge to remain ever vigilant,
I pledge to remain ever vigilant,
protecting our citizens' lives,
protecting our citizens' lives,
health, homes, and property.
health, homes, and property.
I pledge to accomplish
I pledge to accomplish
our mission
through
through education,
training, leadership,
and the commitment to accountability and respect.
to accountability and respect.
I pledge to accept with honor
I pledge to accept with honor
the duties and responsibilities
the duties and responsibilities
of Fire Lieutenant
of Fire Lieutenant
for Oldsmar Fire Rescue.
for Oldsmar Fire Rescue.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, be careful, Schwab.
Good job, chief.
We have medics here, right?
Work out. All right, item number 3.
Item number 3 is a public service oath and penning for Fire Marshal Brian Ludiker.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
Brian Ludiker,
Do solemnly pledge
do solemnly pledge
to uphold the laws and Constitution
to uphold the laws and Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the state of Florida,
the state of Florida,
and the city of
and
Oldsmar.
the city of Oldsmar.
I pledge to remain ever vigilant,
I pledge to remain ever vigilant,
protecting our citizens' lives,
protecting our citizens' lives,
health, homes, and property.
health, homes, and property.
I pledge to accomplish our mission
I pledge to accomplish our mission
through education,
through education,
training, and leadership,
training, and leadership,
and the commitment
to
accountability and respect.
accountability and respect.
I pledge to accept
I pledge to accept
with honor the duties and responsibilities
the responsibilities
of Fire Marshal
of Fire Marshal
for Oldsmar Fire Rescue.
for Oldsmar Fire Rescue.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
No blood, bud. No blood. Yeah, definitely not with a white shirt.
Group picture. Get a picture. It's a big moment. You guys
Guys, come on up. Get everyone.
Yeah.
Photo.
Group
Everyone's
photo.
here. Come on up.
We so rarely get to see you all, in here.
Do you want to get in closer? Get over here. You in with us?
Yeah, okay.
Come on in.
Okay, so you want to stand up here?
Go.
We all ready here? 1, 2, 3, times. Got mine in. Need yours?
We're good?
Good.
All right, thanks, guys. All right,
Congratulations. Having fun.
Thank you, Kristen Garcia, our city clerk. Wonderful job. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket. This will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Keep going.
Item 4, approve minutes of the August 27th, 2024 local canvassing board meeting. Item 5, approve minutes of the August 27th, 2024 city council meeting. Item 6, award work order number 3 for construction, engineering, and inspection services for the Water Reclamation Control Building project to Ardura under GES 2023-002 RFQ. Item 7, award 2024-004 ITB Water Reclamation Control Building construction to Trias Construction LLC.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket? With that, I need to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved?
Second?
Motion, second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is our city attorney, Tom Trask.
Mayor, item number 8 is a public hearing and second reading of ordinance 2024-10. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-10, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to amend Section 14.1.6 of Article 14 Supplemental Regulations, amend subparagraph 4 of Section 5.1.7 of Article 5 Zoning Regulations, and Section 15.3.1 and 15.9.1 of Article 15 Design and Construction Standards of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar to provide for the placement of fences and docks in drainage or utility easements and rights-of-way, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2024-10 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. Is there any member of the public wishing to be heard on this item? I will close the public hearing. Need a motion for approval?
So moved?
Motion, how about a second? I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadazowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-10 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
All right, item number 9 on your agenda is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-16. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-16, an ordinance declaring the intention of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, to annex certain real property located in Section 22, Township 28 South, Range 16 East, further described as Lot 9, Block 10, map of Section Number 1 West Oldsmar, parcel number 22 28 16 96660 into the corporate limits of the City of Oldsmar and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-16 by title only, and Mr. Jackson has a presentation on this tonight.
Good evening, Matt Jackson, Planning and Redevelopment Department Principal Planner. Tonight, the agenda item before you is for the annexation on Phoenix Avenue with City of Oldsmar case number ANN 24-01. This is a voluntary annexation request from the property owner. The parcel is approximately 0.24 acres and is located in West Oldsmar in unincorporated Pinellas County. In 2004, the Pinellas Planning Council conducted the West Oldsmar annexation feasibility study, and the study concluded annexing West Oldsmar properties would benefit both those desiring to be annexed as well as the City of Oldsmar. Since 2004, multiple properties in the West Oldsmar area have annexed into the city. The parcel is contiguous to the Oldsmar municipal boundaries. The parcel is to be developed with a single-family home. We'll have a zoning district of R2 single-family and future land use of residential urban. Before you, you can see a map of the West Oldsmar area. Those properties that have the green color have been annexed into the city. The subject property is the property in yellow. There are city services available to the property such as water and sewer, solid waste and recycling. And the 3 applicable municipalities have been notified: the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners, Pinellas County Department of Housing and Community Development, and the City of Safety Harbor. Based on the above discussion, staff recommends that City Council approves the annexation of the approximately 0.24 acre subject property located on Phoenix Avenue, West Oldsmar, Section 1, Block 10, Lot 9, into the corporate limits of Oldsmar. The Planning Board, at their last meeting on August 14th, unanimously recommended approval of the annexation, and I request that the staff report be accepted into the record. This time, my presentation is complete. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff? No. Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. I am going to open the public hearing, and we do have someone that would like to speak. Nefeli Zupa, would you want to come up, please?
Good evening, everyone, Mayor Saraki and City Council. My name is Nefeli Jupa, and I am a public policy and administration student at St. Petersburg College, and I am here on behalf of my policy leadership class. First and foremost, I would really like to thank the principal planner, Matthew Jackson, for his expertise and time on the subject, and I thank you for your time today. I am here to support the proposed annexation of the property at 0 Phoenix Avenue here in Oldsmar, as outlined in Ordinance 2024-16. This 0.24 acre parcel, which is located in the West Oldsmar area, represents a promising opportunity for our city's growth and development strategy. The benefits of this annexation would include enhanced public services and infrastructure. Annexing this property would integrate it into Oldsmar's existing framework of public services, which are often more comprehensive and efficient than those provided at the county level, as well as increased property values. Properties within city limits generally experience higher property values due to the increased access and city amenities and services. By bringing this property into Oldsmar, the owner can stand to benefit from this potential increase, which in turn can contribute to the city's overall economic health. And lastly, stimulating development aligned with city goals. So integrating this property into the city's jurisdiction allows it to be developed in ordinance with Oldsmar's Land Development Code, and this means that future developments will align with the city's growth strategies and ensures that new projects meet the standards and visions set forth in Oldsmar's strategic plans. The annexation of 0 Phoenix Avenue in Oldsmar represents a strategic and beneficial move for the city, and it offers the potential for enhanced public services, increased property values, and future development for the city. And it also aligns with Oldsmar's values and its vision for growth. Integrating this property into our city's jurisdiction is a positive step that supports long-term development goals and ensures that the city continues to expand in a managed and purposeful manner. I urge you to approve this annexation as it promises to be a valuable addition to our community's ongoing growth and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Anybody else would like to speak on this matter? Come on up.
Jerry Beaveland, 512 Pine Avenue South. I remember back in the day, just before I was mayor, back in the early 90s, there was a few people from West Oldsmar said they would never annex the city of Oldsmar, and I said, watch it. Before long, we're going to have all of you.
One at a
And
time.
you still live in the city of Oldsmar, thanks to that council and what we did. We bought, I think it was the Outback people, I'm not, if I remember right. And they came in and wanted all that land annexed, and I said, we talked to them, and we'll annex you. And then we've annexed a little piece every time. So it's one more piece that's come in the city of Oldsmar. Now, I told him before I died, we'd probably have all of West Oldsmar, and probably it's not true, but we're gonna get every lot in the West Oldsmar one at a time. And that's what it's been, one at a time. And we'll have all of them. Annex them.
Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else wish to speak on this matter? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All right, all in favor? Oh, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tatazeski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-16 passes on a first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
All right, thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is item 10, and that will be taken care of by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Mayor, I can go ahead and handle this one.
Okay.
This is a public hearing to adopt Resolution 2024-33. I'll read this resolution in its entirety. This is Resolution 2024, I'm sorry, I'm jumping one. Let me get back to the right one. Yeah. Resolution 2024-33, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, setting the tentative millage levy for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, ending September 30th, 2025. And whereas in accordance with the law, the Pinellas County Property Appraiser has certified to the City of Oldsmar a rollback millage rate of 3.8864 mils. And whereas the proposed millage rate is greater than the rollback rate by 4.21%, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City of Oldsmar, the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida hereby sets the millage rate for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025 at 4.05 mils. And Section 2, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its adoption. Mayor, Council, that was a complete reading of Resolution 2024-33 by title only, and it is a public hearing.
So this is a public hearing. I am going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this item? I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve. Motion and second. Any other discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Tatazeski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes. All right, item
Resolution-
11.
Hang on.
Resolution 2024-33 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you very much. Item 11 will be also done by our city attorney.
Be happy to. Mayor, this is Resolution 2024-34, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the tentative budget appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has reviewed the proposed appropriations for the City of Oldsmar for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, does hereby tentatively establish the appropriations for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025 as follows. See attached Schedule A, pages 1 through 8. General Fund, $18,828,805. Public Safety Impact Fund, $178,750. Parkland Dedication Fund, $5,250. Multimodal Impact Fund, $16,500. Community Redevelopment Agency Fund, $2,755,290. Debt Service Harbor Palms, $380,530. Capital Improvement Fund, $5,335,000. Water and Sewer Operating Fund, $12,147,460. Water and Sewer Impact Fund, $95,000. Stormwater Utility Fund, $2,021,960. Solid Waste Fund, $3,216,925. Total budget appropriations, $44,981,470. Section 2, that all purchase orders for the materials and services that remain open at year-end FY 23-24 are to become supplemental appropriations in the respective departmental accounts in the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025, unless canceled. Section 3, that this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its adoption. Mayor, council members, that was the reading of Resolution 2024-34 in its entirety, and this is also a public hearing.
Thank you. I am going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody that wishes to be heard on this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved?
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Graber,
Yes.
Hazeski,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-34,
Kristen, Mayor, you got to.
Mayor Shiraki.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-34 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
All right, now we're on item 12, and we're going to go back to our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Item number 12, Mayor, is adopt resolution 2024-29, amending the stormwater utility management fees. In 1992, the city established a stormwater utility fund and a stormwater management fee of $2 for an equivalent residential unit ERU per month. This was increased to $2.50 in 1998 and $3 in 2003. For multifamily property and non-residential property, these charges relate to the number of ERUs for that particular parcel. The ERU is based on the total impervious surface of the parcel. In January of 2010, the city adopted a 2-tiered stormwater fee. This fee was $3.50 per ERU for those customers with limited stormwater service and $4 for all other stormwater customers. In October of 2014, the tiers were adjusted to $4.50 and $5, depending on whether a property was located in a development that provided stormwater management. In October of 2019, the tiers were adjusted to $5.50 and $6. In October 2022, the tiers were adjusted to $7.50 and $8. In October 2023, the tiers were adjusted to $9.50 and $10, with an anticipation that additional increase would be requested this year. The system continues to operate at near break-even operating margin, necessitating a rate adjustment to support future essential operating and capital costs. The recommended $2 increase per ERU for both tiers will generate an estimated $312,000 in additional revenue per year. This revenue will be instrumental in funding critical yet currently unfunded stormwater master plan projects, as well as various improvements needed to address drainage issues throughout the city. Implementation of this increase will leave the city's stormwater utility management fee within the range of those neighboring municipalities. In addition to funding operating and capital costs, these revenues will enable the city to save for future sustainability and resiliency measures, particularly those outlined in the recently presented 2024 City of Oldsmar Vulnerability Update. I'm going to read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2024-29, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending the city's stormwater management fee in accordance with Section 70-356 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, and providing an effective date hereof. Whereas Section 70-356 of the Code of Ordinances authorizes the City Council to establish a reasonable stormwater management fee rate for an equivalent residential unit by resolution for any fiscal year period following the 1990-1991 fiscal year. And whereas during development of the fiscal 24-25 budget, staff concluded that revenues are inadequate to cover system requirements, and whereas the stormwater management fee currently charged is inadequate to cover the stormwater maintenance expenses, capital expenses, and debt service needs, and whereas the City Council considered the recommendation of staff, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, in session duly and regularly assembled as follows. Section 1, in accordance with Section 70-356 of the Code of Ordinances, the stormwater management fee is established at a sum of $12 for one equivalent residential unit per month. Section 2, in accordance with Section 70-356 of the Code of Ordinances, the stormwater management fee for commercial and residential entities with limited service, which excludes stormwater pond maintenance, is established at the sum of $11.50 for one equivalent residential unit per month. Section 3, Resolutions 92-14, 98-29, 2003-26, 2010-14, 2014-18, 2019-12, 2022-13, and 2023-15 are hereby repealed in their entirety. This resolution shall be effective on October 1st, 2024. This was a reading of the resolution 2024-29 in its entirety. Director of Administrative Services, Cindy Neno, is here to give a brief presentation, if desired by council.
Absolutely.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, good evening, Council. I'm Cindy Neno, Administrative Services Director, and I'm here to tell you about the stormwater fee. Okay, so before we really get into the details, I wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what the fee is and how it's calculated. There's some terms that you're going to hear, have already heard, as Felicia read the agenda item. First of all, is impervious surface. This is surface on a parcel that water can't flow through. Daniel can correct me if I botch anything. So it includes the house, you know, the basic footprint of the house, pools, patios, driveways, that sort of thing. Then with that, you can calculate the equivalent residential unit, which is in 1 ERU is equal to 2,550 square feet of impervious surface. We use that to calculate the fees for full service. Full service is defined as a service where the city provides all the stormwater system maintenance for that area. Limited service, as Felicia mentioned in the agenda item, is usually for a development that has stormwater ponds and other drainage features. Okay. I'll tell you how to calculate it. Let's see. Oops. Let's see.
Are they clicking your buttons?
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, kind of all botched up.
It's that last slide.
It's the
Keeps getting
rain.
you. There it is.
That's the last
Nope.
one.
Nope.
Oh,
Cindy, which slide would you like?
go back to the second one.
Seems like the slides are impervious.
Okay.
Clicker.
Okay, so, to simplify it. Okay, for a residential fee, one single-family unit or a single-family home is billed for 1 ERU. A duplex is billed with 2, and then any other multifamily is billed based on a number of residential units. Kind of simplify it. For commercial, it's based on the impervious surface of the building and the driveway and different things like that, divided by the 2550. With that, you'll get an ERU, equivalent residential unit, and then you multiply that by the monthly fee to get the amount the business is charged. Okay, I'm not going to read this chart because we already went over that, or Felicia went over it and read through it. So basically, the Stormwater Utility Fund was created in 1992, and then it evolved slowly. Rates were changed very slowly over the years. Then we got to a point where we implemented the 2 tiers. And then finally, fast forward to 1920, we started raising the fees again, partially to address Harbor Palms. We had to take out a loan to pay for the stormwater piece of that, so we needed to pay for the debt service. So that's why we started that. Moving forward, we started looking at all the capital needs, and the operating expenses have been drastically increasing, so we realized there was a need to continue that increase to make sure we had enough proper funding for the operations. Okay, looking at the CIP, for the Stormwater Fund, we have a total of $13.5 million over 6 years of projects identified. $2.3 million of those projects are grant funded. $6 million project, Douglas Road, is contingent upon grant funding. And then we have another $2.8 million of projects that are currently unfunded. These are projects that will be specified when the results of the Stormwater Master Plan come in. Okay, looking at the operating budget that was just, first reading was passed tonight. The stormwater fees, hold on. Okay, so incorporating the $2 per ERU increase, it's gonna bring our annual revenue to about $1.88 million for the fund. And then there's some other miscellaneous revenues that are added to that, investment earnings and some other miscellaneous fees. see, overall about $312,000 increase. Equipment for stormwater maintenance is very expensive. We have budgeted in the new year a total of $586,000 of capital, which includes a new dump truck and a front-end loader, as well as a small stormwater pipe rehab project. This leaves us about $400,000 for contingencies that come up during the year, as well as saving for future projects in reserve. Okay, so why is all this stuff so important? I think we all kind of know the answer to that. First of all, it's a priority for us due to the proximity to Tampa Bay and the city's low elevation. It makes us vulnerable. As presented in the last meeting, the new vulnerability study identified the stormwater system as a critical infrastructure. In addition to the wastewater treatment system, the RO plant, and then the general utility systems. The system includes 15 miles of ditches, 23 miles of pipe. In particular, they're particularly important during any kind of major rain event. The fund has struggled to keep up with the rising costs, and especially with the capital needs, it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's expensive. Debt was required to pay for improvements in Harbor Palms, and then, of course, we had to raise the rates to pay for that debt. So the Stormwater Master Plan is currently underway, and so far, we have estimated $2.8 million of projects will come out of that. That's probably a conservative estimate. We'll know more as the report comes in. Okay, of course, we always try for grant funding. That's not always guaranteed. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And the $2 per ERU fee increase will help better position the Stormwater Fund to meet these capital needs in the future. Okay, this, I believe, was included in the agenda item. And this shows, right now, we are really down at the bottom of the list with all the other cities in Pinellas County. We're currently at $10 per ERU. Moving it up to 12 will kind of put us mid-pack and in a better position. I know there's a lot of other municipalities that are currently in the middle of increasing their stormwater fees. So we'll be, that'll change a little bit even after this for fiscal year '25. Again, many jurisdictions are facing the same challenges with the rising costs and, particularly the capital needs. So, okay. With that, and then
Thank you very much. Any questions for Cindy? Anyone?
Cindy?
Great job.
Thanks, Cindy.
thanks.
Okay, then I am looking for a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-29, amending the stormwater utility management fees.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this from anybody? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 13.
Item number 13, Mayor, annual updates to the Local Mitigation Strategy, LMS, and Community Rating System Program for Public Information, known as PPI. The City of Oldsmar has participated in the Community Rating System since 1992 and recently achieved a Class 5 rating, allowing residents and businesses to reduce flood insurance premiums by up to 25%. To qualify for CRS Activity 510 floodplain management planning credits, municipalities must create their own floodplain management plan or participate in a multi-jurisdictional plan. Oldsmar's local mitigation strategy, developed with Pinellas County and its 24 municipalities, qualifies as a multi-jurisdictional plan. The LMS aims to mitigate property damage and loss of life from severe storms and flooding. City staff and LMS participants regularly update the plan, which includes major drainage projects, public structure improvements, and community outreach. The LMS is updated annually with new projects and undergoes a major update every 5 years. The latest 5-year update was adopted on September 3rd, 2020, with work underway for the 2025 update. To maintain the CRS Activity 510 credit, an annual progress report is required. This memo serves as that progress report and will be available at Oldsmar City Hall, on the city's website, and through social media. The capital improvement plan for 2020 through 2026 is referenced in the LMS annual report. For a complete copy of that, of the CIP, contact the city clerk, Kristen Garcia. This agenda item also formalizes the submission of the Pinellas County Multi-Jurisdictional Community Rating System Annual Report for public information, which is crucial for maintaining the city's CRS Class 5 rating. The public information aims to enhance flood hazard communication and provide vital information to residents. The complete LMS and PPI reports, along with the latest 5-year report, are available at the city clerk's office. A summary of all the local accomplishments is attached to the agenda.
All right, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to receive and file the annual reports and updates to Pinellas County's Local Mitigation Strategy, LMS, and the county's Community Rating System Program for Public Information, PPI.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 14.
Item number 14 is approve the special event application fee waiver request and use of the city logo for the Holiday Sharing Fund Craft Beer Festival to be held on November 9th, 2024. The Holiday Sharing Fund is a nonprofit organization that raises money through charitable events to provide bicycles, helmets, and locks to economically disadvantaged children living in Oldsmar community. The organization proposes to host the 3rd annual Craft Beer Festival on November 9th to take place in the grass lot on the east side of the City Hall building. It's anticipated to draw close to 900 people over the course of the day. This item requests the waiver of fees in the amount of $1,010. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the Holiday Sharing Fund requests that the city waive the fees associated for the event. All external costs will be the event organizer's responsibility as outlined. The Holiday Sharing Fund will recognize the city as a sponsor at the appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. A copy of the application is attached. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you very much. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Approve the beer festival. Any other discussion? Absolutely.
I may, Mayor. I had some questions about this application last year when it was presented to this council, and I have similar questions this year, really more points, because when I look at the Holiday Sharing Fund's website under events, I see no mention of a craft beer festival. Then when I look at Tampa Bay Brewing Company's website, there happens to be a beer festival on the same date and time as this application. It's also the 10th annual craft beer festival, because I've actually been to several of them, so I know. But I just have a problem with seeing this application, and then it just doesn't seem to line up with what's in reality happening. I see no mention of the Holiday Sharing Fund on TBB's website, so I'm just, again, at a loss for supporting this fee waiver when I'm not really certain how much benefit, if any, that the Holiday Sharing Fund is getting. So I know we have a chamber representative here. I don't know if they could speak to that or not. That's okay if they choose not to, but yeah, I just, it doesn't sit well with me, so.
Jerry, you want to come up? Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry Peruzzi, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. Yes, it is a co-sponsorship with the Tampa Bay Brewing Company, and the funds will go to the holiday sharing.
Do we know how much funds went to Holiday Sharing Fund last year?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you.
I'd love to see it.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, Councilmember Gannon?
Thank you, Mayor. Is there any sort of drawback to tabling it for one meeting to find out that information? Or does this need to be approved now due to time constraints?
Table that's 2 weeks, the meeting. I think we're okay. Yeah.
I will entertain a motion to.
Oh, we have an active motion on the floor, right?
Oh,
The motion to table will control.
Do I need to withdraw mine?
No.
Or just motion to table?
Just a question.
Motion to table till the next meeting, which will be September 17th?
okay, before that, do we have any other comments before we do that?
None from me, so forgive
Okay.
me.
First of all, the motion table's been made, so
Okay.
we're gonna have stock comments. So motion to table is on. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's no more discussion. You just vote on that. You voted up or down.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. We're going to table it. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you very much for that, Tom. Item 15.
Item number 15 is to approve the special event application fee waiver request and use the city logo for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce's Celebrate Oldsmar event to be held November 22nd through 24th. The citywide celebration, which takes place in Olds Park, originally began in 1995 as a one-day city-operated event and eventually grew into a two-day regional food, music, and beverage festival with fireworks over the Labor Day weekend. This year's event is proposed to take place November 22nd to 24th at Olds Park and will include live music, vendors, food, and beverages. In addition, the city plans to provide fireworks during the event on Saturday night, November 23rd. The item requests a waiver of fees in the amount of $5,360. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce requests that the city waive the fees associated with the event. All other external costs, including the utility fees of $690, will be the event organizer's responsibility as outlined. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce will recognize the city as a sponsor at an appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. A copy of the application is attached for review.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
Do we know how many minutes of fireworks we get this year?
I hope it doesn't
9.5.
rain.
9.5.
9.5, all right.
3 more minutes this year.
It doesn't rain? No rain? No rain.
He just has to not be there.
Promises?
Promises. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Great job. Next item is our city clerk, Kristen Garcia. Everything you like to share?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no items this evening.
Right, then the item 16 was request the excuse absent of Vice Mayor Steve Graber.
Graber. It's always been Graber.
I know.
What's your turn for them to pronounce your name?
For the August 13th, 2024 council work session. Is that the long one you missed?
Wasn't there, so I couldn't tell
No,
you.
that wasn't the one. Okay.
No.
No,
No, no,
that was just a budget.
not the 6-hour one. No, was that that one?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
budgeting,
That's
budget.
right. I need a motion to excuse Vice Mayor Graber.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And just to let you all know, my work asked me to visit agents in South Florida, and when they ask, I have to go. So there was, and I said there is actually a conflict, but there was no getting out of it. So I do appreciate everybody showing up, and thank you so very much for hopefully voting to excuse my absence.
Vice Mayor, thank you for explaining, but it's understandable. We gotta work.
Gotta work.
You know, gotta work. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is council comments, and we're gonna start out with Vice Mayor Steve Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know what is going on outside.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
actually
it's,
downpouring.
goodness gracious.
Hanging out here.
Yeah, I guess so. I do have a few things that I want to discuss tonight that center around what occurred at our meeting on August 27th, and specifically how the vote went on the agenda item regarding authorizing our city manager to move forward with negotiations with Stanberry. I've actually written my comments out because I believe it's important for us to discuss it, or at least for me to be able to provide my comments during this part of the meeting. And first and foremost, I want to make sure to say how excited I am to move forward with Stanberry. I neglected to say that during last week's meeting. So I want to be sure that I'm on record tonight to let them know how appreciative I am about the work their firm has already done to comply with all the rules that we have, and the work that I anticipate they'll do as Felicia and staff move through the negotiation process. During the discussion at the August 27th meeting, some things were said and some things weren't said. And I believe it's important to discuss that tonight. So what was said? Councilmember Tardazeski, you said that the development was the subject of the last 3 elections, and that the public is telling us something, and that it is extremely important that we listen. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I find it interesting because I've always been for developing downtown. Always. I also remember being a candidate in one of the last 3 elections. And I remember winning my election against someone who claimed that density was not dead. Remember a flyer being sent out. Density is not dead. You also said that you think rushing through a project for fear that the state might take our land would be irresponsible. This was in response to comments made by Councilmember Gannon. I will never venture to speak for Councilmember Gannon. Trust me, I know she can do it on her own. But I take offense at the suggestion that anything she's done, ever, is irresponsible. And I certainly take offense to any suggestion that something is being rushed through. The city's been attempting to get something built on this land for literally decades. Nothing is being rushed. You also stated that there's an issue with the height and the density of the proposed building, and then told the developer that people will show up to their meetings and picket whatever is built on the site. And that you have talked to, quote, hundreds of people, end quote, and they don't want high-density apartments. There's a huge problem with that sentiment because there's nothing high-density about this project. So I would think that the hundreds of people that have been spoken to would be excited. Great, there's finally a low-density project that we can all support. Then, what did Mayor Saraki say? Or better put, what did you not say? You thanked the developers for coming to a meeting that lasted 6 hours. You said GAI did a great job, that staff did a great job, and that both developers did a fantastic job. It was very nice of you to say those things. Then you voted no on authorizing the city manager to move forward with negotiations with Stanberry. What you didn't say was why you were voting no, why you had voted yes on nearly every vote we've had on downtown development since you've been mayor, and why you gave the highest scores out of every council member to Stanberry. My point being, if you were going to be against the development, then why did you give the highest scores to the developers? They should have just been zeros and ones if you were going to be against it the entire time. You gave perfect 10s. So I believe the answer is simple. When you ran for mayor the last time, you won because of the anti-density movement. We all know it. You're running for mayor again, I believe. You haven't made a formal announcement yet, but I believe you are running for mayor again. So you need to separate yourself from your opponent, or if Mayor Beaverland also decides to run, your opponents. So I understand that there's going to be political gamesmanship in any campaign. I mean, I've been a part of a couple of them. Your past vote signaled that you were for developing downtown so long as the project was low density. This project is low density. So that's why I'm so confused. The next 7 months are going to be filled with campaign rhetoric. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't think anybody is. But I understand. That said, if the narrative is that this project is high density, that will be providing misinformation to the public. It's not. One of the proposals was 24 units per acre. The other was 31.25. Neither one of those says high density. So while I know I can't necessarily respond on social media to anything that we may discuss up here, none of us can. I do know that misinformation is going to be called out by multiple members of our community. We have an opportunity in front of us to finally get downtown built. We paused negotiations with the prior developer. We held meetings to obtain input from the residents. We brought in a consultant to assist us with the process. We made building the downtown corridor a council priority. We have been working on achieving this goal for a very long time, and I think we owe it to the citizens to see this process through and not play politics with it because we're not sure if we're going to get elected or not. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Next is Councilmember Andrew Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. I wanted to pull up an email real quick just to make sure I got this date correct. A couple of us, I think it may have only been the city manager, myself, and the mayor, but I think we all got some communication from Ford Pinellas about the upcoming reapportionment of the board. So there will be a member of the Ford Pinellas team with us here at the October 17th
Next meeting.
council meeting. If I have that date right.
Next
That's what I'm
meeting.
trying to check. Is it the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, they will be here to provide a presentation about what that all entails, how that will impact us in terms of our representation over the next, for the time that the Ford Pinellas is, in existence, basically. But as you all know, it will basically be us and Safety Harbor on a 3-year rotation. So Tarpon Springs will now have their own full-time seat. And so when my term expires at the end of this year, we will have a 3-year hiatus where somebody from Safety Harbor will be representing on behalf of both of us. I also had a few comments as it relates to last meeting's discussion and vote towards the consideration for moving forward with Stanberry. I was really caught off guard to some extent by how things went down. And I feel like we had built a lot of momentum over the last 2 years since April of 2022, 2+ years. And suddenly it felt like the rug was almost pulled out from this city, because it's not just this council, it's everybody out there. We've built a lot of momentum. We've had some ups and downs along the way. And since April of 2022, it's been unanimous support for moving things forward in an open and transparent manner with the public. And we've still been doing that, and I have full faith that we will continue to do that in perpetuity for this city. And I was just taken aback by the mayor voting no after unanimously voting with the council. I mean, I've listed all the votes out because there's a lot, but it has been an effort over the last 2 years. And again, just not having a clear context of why. I'm fine with any reason, because everybody has a reason for how they're going to vote, yes or no. But to basically make it seem like we're going to vote yes and then have a roll call vote and vote no, just if I was Stanberry, I'd really be seriously consider walking right now, because it's a razor-thin 1-vote margin to just upend all their effort that they've done so far. And it could be anybody. I don't have any skin in the game with Stanberry. And that bothers me. It bothers me a lot. As Councilmember Graber, or excuse me, Vice Mayor Graber just stated, these projects are not anywhere near where they could be, either of the two that had been presented. One is slightly over the density that has been adopted and in place since the mid-90s, when none other than Mayor Beaverland was the one that put it into effect. All Stanberry has to do right now, if they drop their unit count by 10 units, they will be in compliance with the decades-old density. So I find 250 units far more palatable than what was previously proposed by Woodfield at 314 or whatever it was, compared to, if they really wanted to go all out, guns a-blazing, they could build 520 units if it was the pleasure of the council. And I don't think it is. So I would ask that at some point, if it's not tonight, for Mayor to kind of explain what your thought and vision is for this downtown, because you've been very gung-ho and supportive of the work that our staff has done, the work that GAI has done, the work that the two developers did to get us to where we are today. Now, granted, there's only one left in the game. It's the one that, by a margin of 3-2, we voted to continue with. You said at that last meeting that this is just the beginning. And it is for this potential relationship with one developer. You also said that all the citizens in the city of Oldsmar will have plenty of time to speak their voice. But by voting no, you essentially wanted to silence everyone, because at that point, we're back to square one. We've got no developer. Do you think Office America is going to jump in the mix now? I highly doubt it. So then we're back to square one. We just did all those years of work for nothing, except we've gotten a mission and a vision statement. Now we're back to, I don't know who's going to build it. Are we going to sell it? That would be raising a whole lot of questions that we don't have answers to right now. So I don't understand it, other than it does appear to be politically motivated, and that's fine. Everybody has that choice too, to craft and choose whatever lane they see in an effort to represent this city. So if that's the way things are going to go for the next 7 months, again, I'm not looking forward to it either. But I'm still up here for almost 2 years. And so I'm going to keep doing what's right for the city. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Knapp. Next is Councilmember Valerie Tarazinski.
Tadasevsky.
Tarazinski.
So close. Wow. I think I'm processing everything that you said, so I don't know that I'll have a full response at this time. And I will likely have comments after I've had time to digest everything that you said. In fact, if you want to give me a copy of your speech, I'd love to go through it so that I can address all of your points. To Katie, you seems like maybe he thinks you are offended by my question. If that is the case, I apologize. My expectation of being up here is that we can have an open conversation if we need to. So me saying that that would be irresponsible, you clarified that.
Yeah.
That was not your intention in saying that. I felt like that was over at that point. You clarified, okay, received the information. I hope we have more conversations like this where I can tell you how I interpreted what you said. And if that's incorrect, you can let me know. And I hope that that's the same and true for every person on the council. I like the transparency of being able to have this open conversation and a real conversation. And in fact, I think it's missing from a lot of the meetings. We do meet ahead of time and get a lot of our questions answered. And so what happens with the public is they assume we've talked about this behind closed doors when we haven't. We've just asked our questions, not out in the open and not at this time. So we get those questions answered and then it looks like we've planned this whole meeting, and that's not the case. So when I say things like that, it's because I want to make sure that I'm understanding you. So I hope we're okay.
I'm good.
Okay. I think that it's an unrealistic expectation to assume that we would have yes votes across the board, especially on a project we've gotten a lot of feedback on. So I hope you weren't surprised that I voted no. I've been very vocal about that the entire time that I have not been for 5-story apartments. I unfortunately did not get the privilege to vote or score on the projects. I did attend the entire meeting, but I was not sitting up here at this time. In fact, this council chose that timeline. You could have waited until after somebody was elected to score those, and we could have maybe had more dialogue about that. So I hope that you didn't feel blindsided by my vote. I haven't changed anything about what I've been doing. I feel like I've been honest and open the entire time about my thoughts on this project. I think that that's all there is to say. It's a pleasure to serve the community here. I'm not going to change anything about what I'm doing. I feel like I was elected for a reason. And so I'm going to continue to be honest and transparent in this process. And I hope that we can find a way to work together, even though we don't all have the same opinions.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Katie Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Tardaszewski. I felt like we were good after I had the opportunity to clarify that I wasn't in favor of rushing anything, but I did feel, and I was grateful, even though I put the city manager and the city attorney on the spot, to confirm certain information that, we're not making decisions in a vacuum. And you are correct that you weren't part of the opportunity to score the 2 proposals that came forth. And your vote wasn't necessarily a surprise. I didn't feel blindsided by it. I am hopeful that perhaps in the future you might be able to help me and maybe the residents of the city understand what it is that you want to go there. And the reason that I need to understand that is because we just had two proposals that met the requirements of what can go there, and the vote was no. So if we take that out of the context of city-owned land, for example, and somebody proposed something on privately owned land, and it met the requirements of the code, if we don't approve it, we better have a very good reason, or we get sued. So, you know, if the answer is, I don't want anything, that's fine. If the answer is, I want to sell it off in parcels, that's fine. I would like to know that vision at some point when you've had the opportunity to consider all those factors. But I also, apparently we all, okay, so I also left the meeting last week very frustrated and confused. And I need some clarity from the mayor as well. Resolution 97-29 established the town center code, likely around the same time, the density, definitions, the TCCN, which is where the city hall property sits, what uses were permissible. That was 27 years ago, and you are correct, Jerry Beaverland was the mayor at that time. And both of these proposals, aside from, you know, one unit, met that density. And so these are not projects that were proposed that are more than what is allowable in that site. I actually did make a timeline, and the reason I made a timeline is because if it had been 2 years of, you know, 3-2 votes, even 1 year of 3-2 votes, or if it had been, as you mentioned, let's wait till the new council member is on board to schedule this meeting, or a low ranking at the meeting, I wouldn't have been as confused last week. And I would have understood the vote. I would not, and probably the public would not be as confused. But a little over 2 years ago, we decided to do this entire process completely differently. I think GAI called it the most transparent process they had ever seen a city do, which I took as an incredible compliment from them and their, you know, level of experience. In May 2022, we had a consultant hold the open houses at the Hampton Inn at the city's expense to develop the vision and mission statement. We also determined at that time the method by which we were going to proceed. In July 2022, about 100 people attended that visioning workshop. We've seen pictures of the giant Post-it notes that people created, all of the input they gave. There was substantial participation from residents of all areas and ages. I felt that people were happy to be heard finally after a situation that required a lot more clarity. And we had voted 5-0, I believe, to pause negotiations and start that process in a new way. So on August 16th, 2022, we approved that mission and vision statement that was developed, 5-0. To develop the land next to City Hall. It included information like the experiences that people wanted to feel, the sense of community, what they were looking for. You know, there was so much great feedback. You know, no more medical offices. There was retail components in there. There was public park elements in there. There was so much, and we all agreed. So in September 2022, we agreed to a letter of interest to solicit interest from the development community. And we eventually received a list of 9 developers, if you guys remember, and we shortlisted it with the help of GAI to 5, and we decided unanimously to start the RFP process. So then November 2022, by the way, we also included the City Hall site as a project which we certified to the state of Florida that we were working on under the CRA statute. In December 2022, we decided to get GAI further involved with the RFP process and consented to an extension and additional expenditure on their contract, 5-0. We had a work session in January 2023 and consensus, because we do consensus during work sessions, not necessarily votes, on the RFP and the specific content of the RFP. And then in February 2023, we discussed the criteria and the weighting of how we would apply the council's votes on the subcategories that were taken directly from the public feedback. And that was the lengthy meeting where we debated about, you know, should we put the price in an envelope, and we kind of teased about that. But believe it or not, I mean, that was February 2023. It was a long time ago. So the first RFP goes out. We approved GAI to send it out, 5-0. There was no vote. No, I don't want to proceed with this. No, it wasn't, and that was when Councilmember Buckman was up here. And everybody was unanimous. Let's go and send this RFP out, see what we get. So we got nothing, okay? Extremely frustrating. We brought GAI back in October 2023, I believe, to figure out what happened. We authorized them to interview the 5 companies that had responded to the LOI and had been shortlisted about why they didn't respond to the RFP that went out. We got that feedback from GAI. I remember grilling GAI about that feedback because I was very upset that they had guided us into including certain criteria in the RFP that then kind of turned out to be too narrow in scope. So they gave us options after they provided us that feedback, and we decided 5-0 again to refine the RFP, fix the criteria, fix the confusion that was created in the requirements, and send it out again. So in April 2024, we send out another RFP, responses due June 17th. Hold the open houses. We had both the developers come to Oldsmar and meet with the citizens. We had an online survey. The city sent postcards out twice, which is expensive. We had both those developers here to ask questions. We put up 4x4 posts in the ground with QR codes around the City Hall site so people could scan the QR code and find out information to make sure that this time everybody knew what was going on. That was the whole goal. And again, if there was any concern at any point during that 2-year process, I would hope that you would make, Mayor, your concerns known, not only in fairness to the residents, which would be the primary concern, but also to us as a council so that we can consider your valuable feedback in making these decisions as we move forward. So we received these 2 proposals that nearly met the code, and we sat on August 17th for hours during the Q&A. Both companies, one of them brought, 5-6 people here, probably at great expense. And you ranked the Stanberry proposal higher than the OAG proposal, which had the lower density. So that doesn't make sense to me. If you wanted the slightly lower density project, you'd think that that would be the one voted higher. And we all ended up ranking Stanberry's proposal the highest. In fact, you actually gave them a 10 out of 10 on the community feedback and open house, even though the data from GAI showed a lower score on average of the community feedback. I think it was like 6.1 or 5 point something. And I believed in our rankings that day. I left confident that we had consensus. I left feeling like we had made substantial progress. I believed in your rankings. I believed that that was how you felt about the proposal and the proposer's ability to work with us to meet a harmonious type of development. Then last week on step 2, I mean, this is the process, all of these boxes, these steps. This is step 2. We were here last week, and you voted no at step 2. That was before, before we have 3 public open houses to hear from our residents, before we see any terms and conditions, before we find out any actual site plan or concept plan, before we can answer residents' very valid questions about stormwater, traffic, safety, all of those concerns, before our planning board looks at it, it's just shutting the door completely. If the land development code controls, what goes there, then, and they submitted something that nearly met the code, I can't conceive of what you want to go there. I need to understand that. I need to understand, I think the public needs to understand what you want to do. As I mentioned to Councilmember Tartazeski, do you want to just sell it off in parcels? Again, my 2-year understanding was that we were all 5-0, including, Former Councilmember Buckman and former Councilmember Grimes, we were all united in this process. We spent 2 years, we spent nearly $130,000 on GAI, which arguably delivered exactly what we asked them for. We spent countless hours of city staff time, including our city manager, planning and redevelopment director, and giving feedback on both the proposals. Years of data and all of these open houses. It was just so frustrating to see that happen. And again, I would understand if there had been some consistency in how you felt. And it's okay to change your mind. I get that. But there was no reason given last week. It was, everybody will have lots of input and, and no. It was very incongruent to me. So, we asked GAI for these proposals. They give them to us. We have a $36 million investment. We have an $83 million investment, one from OAG, one from Stanberry, plus the $2 million that each of them, had proposed to pay for the land itself. And by rating Stanberry the highest, we essentially said no to OAG. And then last week, we said no to Stanberry. So if we use Stanberry's math, that could have been, millage on an $83 million investment could have been up to $336,000 a year in ad valorem. Just ad valorem. And I know you're aware that the city's taxable property value increased at the lowest percentage in the county. So I don't know, how do we increase revenues to the city to replace that kind of potential investment? Do we raise taxes? And then, there are CRAs all over the state, which I'm sure you've learned by going to all these conferences, who would love to have these types of proposals in front of them that nearly meet their code, a willingness to put down substantial investment and time, commitment to the city, and committed to the city's process for transparency with our citizens, accepting all of that. And it's a no. And I want to know how we're going to replace that. I don't know what's going to happen with Stanberry. I mean, I don't know if I would gamble 2 years of due diligence, probably another $1 million on a 60% chance. I don't know. It was not a ceremonial no vote. I believe that most residents, and I hope I can get some clarity, want something to go there. Those 100 people who came 2 years ago to that vision and mission workshop, they didn't show up to say they wanted nothing. They didn't show up to say, let's keep the grassy lot. Maybe there were some. I don't get that impression. They wanted something there, and they gave us tons of examples. And as a council, we went about this process with intentionality. We obtained public input at every opportunity. We've been united about this process, maybe not about what the final outcome might be. And I recognize that. I recognize that, we could potentially, authorize the city manager to enter into negotiations. Maybe we can't make a deal. Maybe they can't change that 1 unit per acre to meet the density as currently, without the intensity incentive. Maybe there's some deal breaker thing that I'm not thinking of that the city manager would come back and say, nope, they can't do this. And that's fine. Or maybe we get to step 3 or 4 and we get to the 3 public open houses and the feedback from our residents is overwhelmingly, nope, that's not it. But I really, truly believe that they deserved that chance. And I don't know if they're gonna get that now. So to go all this time and not be able to get an up-down vote on a site plan and to go all this time and to say no, to determine whether or not we can even reach that deal with your top-ranked developer is frustrating to say the least. GAI said this was transparent. The scoring criteria came directly from the public. I have reasons for my scoring. I think I explained them at the meeting before we did the roll call vote. I'd be happy to provide those reasons again. I didn't hear any reasons from you, Mayor. I'm not promising our residents any particular final outcome, but I am willing to go with the process a little bit further. I don't understand, given the history of the votes, why the vote came out 3-2. I can't hide my confusion and disappointment. I guess we'll see what Stanberry does. But both proposals had the density that was always permissible on this site since Jerry Beaverland was mayor and when they adopted the town center code in the 90s. So I want to know what was true about how you felt about it. Was it the highest score on August 17th? Or is it no, don't move forward with anything on August 27th, 10 days later? Or has it changed again? I feel like we have to be accountable to our residents. We have to be accountable to each other. Otherwise, this doesn't work. We have to have the dialogue that Valerie just talked about. We have to be able to understand the reasoning behind our decisions. I have mine. I'd like to know yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Councilmember Knapp, Vice Mayor Graber, and Councilmember Gannon, I just wanted to say, I wanted to listen to what you had to say. I don't have an answer for you this evening. I really don't. I'm being honest. I don't have an answer for you guys. I heard you loud and clear, all three of you, on your concerns. And I want to think something over, and I want to get back to you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I just want to say that I'm grateful for all your hard work, and I appreciate your feedback and what you have to say. And I've listened. I've listened to all three of you. And I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way to any one of you. None of you. I know what it is to be a public servant, and I know what you guys all put in, and you all have families and what you do here. I understand that. But in 2 weeks, I'd like to give you an answer then. Would that be acceptable?
Sure.
Okay.
I hope that you had the answer to the question in mind when
I
you
have your-
voted no, but
I will, please.
I understand.
I heard you loud and clear, Councilor Gannon, I heard you loud and clear. Thank you very much for your comments, I appreciate it. That's all I have. Item 18, approved tentative agenda for the September 17th, 2024 council meeting. Does anybody wish to pull or add anything to the agenda? Looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on any of the items? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned.